What's up, NFL fans? Welcome to For Another Overtime, where Christian and I break down our score predictions for week 12 of the NFL, the power rankings of our current beliefs on where these teams stand. That's a little bit rocky, and that's part of overtime. We drink a little bit. My words don't make a whole lot of sense. It's time to pour ourselves another Packers overtime finger point. Oh, we got to get through this quick before I lose you completely.
Yeah, I'm going to cough up a lung pretty soon here. So during the initial episode, did you hear like a bunch of noise a couple of times? Bunch of clattering and banging?
Like Santa?
Santa?
Santa? No, I did
I
not
know
hear
him.
any-
I know him.
I didn't hear
know-
anything.
My glass.
Oh, I did hear that.
Yeah, my glass kept sticking to this ceramic coaster that I have. So I'd pick up my drink and then the suction would come off and the coaster hit the table, hit the floor. It happened right in your outro too. So hopefully didn't ruin that.
No, I thought I heard you like spill your whole drink while I was really getting into my stats last episode.
It happened then too. Yeah. Whoops.
Well, we want this to be a quicker episode, but
Yeah.
one or two topics from around the league. I mean, I feel like you got some tidbits for us this week, Christian.
I mean, I always got the tidbits. The tidbits. Is that weird? Does that sound weird?
No, it's Greek.
It's Greek. One thing I definitely want to talk about is what is happening in this New York Jets organization.
Yeah, I'll talk about the Jets. I always talk about the Jets.
Oh my gosh. We've said it before. Like, I don't really want to talk about Aaron Rodgers. I don't care about Aaron Rodgers' success anymore. Like, I'm done with Aaron Rodgers. But it's so interesting what's happening there. It's such a dumpster fire.
Well, Woody Johnson is the owner, and the rumors came out this week that in week 4, after they lost to the Broncos, he's like, you need to bench Aaron Rodgers. Like, what are we talking about? Like, why is the owner saying that? And then they fire their GM this week.
Yeah.
That's over.
Well, and I read something about, so after the owner suggested that, the coaching staff left the meeting and they were like looking at each other like, was he being serious? Like, does he actually think that? And I'm sure he did. That probably would have been the smartest move.
Yeah, we predicted a dumpster fire happening or coming.
Yeah.
But just these layers that continue to appear in the Bob Ross painting that is the New York Jets 24 season.
Happy trees.
The little happy trees. I mean, you flash back 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, like this, all the expectations in the world. Fast forward, you got Devontae Adams on the roster now, and they're 3-8, and it's like their whole future is screwed. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's not this season. It's next season. It's like the next couple seasons are just gone. You've leveraged all of your draft capital. Your cap space is garbage. It's bad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad I'm not glad for the Jets. I'm just so glad we moved on from what could have been. Yeah.
Well, and I saw something else that pointed out I've seen multiple things that have pointed out the Jets' record under previous quarterbacks before Aaron Rodgers came to town. So I got one screenshotted here. So winning percentage as a Jets starting QB. Zach Wilson, his winning percentage was .364. Sam Darnold as the starter, .342. Aaron Rodgers, .273. So he has a winning percentage than Zach Wilson, and Sam Darnold, the garbage quarterbacks that they had prior to Aaron Rodgers. Like,
Yeah.
it's so bad. I also did see something today. I think I read it, and it was someone pointing out that the possibility of Aaron Rodgers becoming a Minnesota Viking and history repeating itself is higher than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
So it was something about Sam Darnold's on a short-term contract. He's playing well. Maybe he wants a little more money, so he goes somewhere else. Then they got J.J. McCarthy, who's a rookie coming off a major injury. The Vikings would be more likely to let him sit another year before naming him the starter. So they bring in Rodgers to fill that time. Thought that was interesting.
I was just seeing if there was a poly market at all for that you can bet your money on whether Rodgers will become. There is not. There's NFL MVP poly market. Right now, Josh Allen leads the field at 38% chance to win MVP.
He better win it.
I think so. It kind of seems like this is his year to do that. Lamar Jackson at 29%, and second, Goff, who we've talked highly about, with those Lions being 9-2, 14%. And then it really just drops off. Jordan Love at 1%. He's behind Kirk Cousins and Joe Burrow. And then anyone other than any of these options has a higher chance than Jordan Love to win MVP. So there's your poly market update for
I feel
NFL
like,
MVP.
In my opinion, Joe Burrow should be higher on that list. Even with
the
record that they're at.
I didn't take a screenshot of it. I should have. Maybe he just looked real quick.
I'm sure I saw it. I'm sure I saw exactly what you're talking about, but I don't remember the stat either. I didn't screenshot it or anything.
Yeah, I don't have it, but just stating like he leads the league in like yards and something else, like two big stats. And
yeah, like yards, touchdowns, something else, and they're below 500.
Yep.
It's insane. Yeah. It's insane. I feel bad for Joe Burrow, honestly.
He looked so defeated after that game. Like, they went into their bye week, and what a low point to go into your bye week where you rallied that second half. I think you and I both took the Bengals to win that game.
We did.
It did not work out. You got any more tidbits? Quick tidbits for us?
Tidbits.
If not, that's okay.
I got to stop saying that 3 times fast.
We're at 8 minutes now. You don't want the tidbit fairy to appear?
Well, no, it could get jumbled into something else.
Yeah, I just see this, like your door swinging open behind you, and the tidbit fairy comes out and like, "Oh, good to see you."
That's what the tidbit fairy sounds like.
Yes, and then he just spits out facts or tidbits. Quite frankly, is what he'd spit out.
I'm pulling up last week's schedule to see if there's anything else that I want to touch on. If it'll load, we don't have to. We can get into
with our score predictions.
Yeah, score predictions, power rankings. I'm sure some tidbits will come up in conversation.
They always do. They always do. Let's start with power rankings. So probably, I don't know if you have yours pulled up on your side. I'll have it up on the screen as I always do. Probably the most movement that we've seen in the last couple of weeks. We thought we had a pretty good gauge. And I think the biggest thing was that we were waiting for Kansas City to finally fall and lose their first game of the year. That resulted in Kansas City dropping 2 spots in your previous power ranking from 2 down to 4. And they dropped from 1 in my power ranking down to 3. Finally, the Detroit Lions take the top spot. I think you and we're in agreement here. If there's any chance of there being a Lions-Bills Super Bowl, it's the start of Week 12. Both these teams look very good in their respective divisions. I think those are the clear 2 favorites. But then we get a little bit blurry on what we agree on with the rest of our power rankings. You have Philadelphia as high as 3. So they're 8-2, I believe. It's a good record. They stumbled a little bit early on. Saquon looks phenomenal, having a great season. You actually called that before the season started. I asked you if Jacobs or Barkley would have the better year. You said Barkley. he looks like a new man out there in Philadelphia. You like them at 3, though. You like them above 94% of the league.
I do, yeah. That offense looks almost unstoppable. Their defense has taken steps throughout the season. They have an elite defense at this point. They're a dominant team, and looking at the rest of my power rankings, each one of these teams that I have below the Philadelphia Eagles have had struggles throughout the season, and I can see the Eagles beating any one of them.
Yeah. On your side, you didn't move the Chargers. You kept them at 10. I put them all the way up to 7 on my rankings after not even being in my top 10 last week. I think that victory over, it was the Bengals, right, that they beat. That's who, yeah. I think I found out from watching that broadcast, not keeping up with it a whole lot. I mean, their defense is their top defense in the NFL, and Herbert's playing well. I think Harbaugh has that team clicking out there in LA. It's kind of a rejuvenated team in general. And then you kept Green Bay at 8 on your side and bumped the Vikings above them. I also have the Vikings above them. No, the Packers victory doesn't get you guys, the Packers up there. They didn't move. They just right where they are.
Yeah, I don't know. If the win against the Bears is more decisive, I would have likely moved them up and kept them above the Vikings. But it just was against a struggling Bears team that I still think is, going to be bottom of the division. I think I needed to see a more decisive win to be able to move them up power rankings. Like I said in our last episode, I don't think that how close that game was is indicative of the Packers being a, more even level team with the Bears. I think there was a lot of factors that made that game the way it was. But even so, I still needed to see a little bit more dominance out of the Packers to be able to move them up the power rankings at least.
Yeah, we have a lot of, for the most part, we're within a rank or two for most of these teams.
We're very close.
I put Pittsburgh at 4 ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe shame on me, maybe not. The fact that the Steelers were able to knock out the Ravens kind of just really put them in a different position for me. Obviously, it's that defense that's carrying this team, and that defense, it's just...
Yeah.
If Russell Wilson continues to look like Russell Wilson of old, the Steelers are going to be a tough team to beat for the rest of the season.
Yeah. You took Pitt in that game, right?
I did not.
I thought you did.
Did I? Hold on, let me go back to week.
Maybe you didn't, but I remember talking last week about how I could definitely see it being the Steelers defense frustrating Lamar Jackson and him making mistakes. So I'm not necessarily surprised by it. I've said it throughout the season. I feel like this Ravens team is going to be up and down, which they have been. But yeah, good. The Steelers look legit.
Yeah, the Steelers are that team that, of everyone on this list, you still have the Commanders at 9, which is a surprise team this season, but the Steelers just continuing to put it on week over week. They came into the season with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Wilson coming off of a terrible 3 seasons, whatever he was as the Bronco, just awful. And then Justin Fields and his history in Chicago is like, they don't really have a quarterback. I don't know how they're going to do this, but they've been able to find victories. So they're all the way up to 4 on my power rankings, the highest they've been so far. I moved the Chargers at 7. And then, to talk about the Packers, I dropped them down a couple spots. I had them 7 last week. I dropped them down to 9. Call it anger, call it frustration. I just they're not showing me what it takes to beat some of these elite teams. They're not clicking yet. So as unbiased as I can possibly be, I have the rest of these teams trending in the right direction, in Green Bay just kind of floundering at the moment.
You're also, when we're making these power rankings, people got to understand that we're Packer fans and we're honed in on this Packers game. We talk about it in the first part of our weekly recording extensively. To make these power rankings, we're looking at all of these teams and the performances they've given and how dominant teams look. It doesn't necessarily just matter if they won or not. Washington lost this week, but they lost, in my opinion, they lost to the Eagles. The Eagles I have ranked at number 3. So a loss to the Eagles for the Commanders isn't as bad as, say, take the Ravens loss to the Browns a couple weeks ago. That's a bad loss. Washington losing to the Eagles, that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, wow, this team has issues. It means they got beat by a very good team. So
and Washington was in that game for the first 3 quarters. Right. They completely imploded. When I turned that game on, I was like, I'm going to get this, because you took the Eagles, I took the Commanders. I'm like, I'm going to get this one right. And then it just all fell apart in the fourth quarter. Sure enough. So you're right. It's who they're playing. It's where they are in the season, how they're performing, and are they trending in the right direction or are they not? And that's kind of how I come to it. It sounds like it's the same way that you come to it as well.
Yeah.
Well,
you brought the Texans into your top 10. That win against the Cowboys was strong enough for you, huh?
Well, I had them at 10 last week, so I kept them there. Yeah. I think if I go back a few weeks, they were not in my week 10 power rankings. I brought them to number 10 in week 11, and I just kept them there. I mean, them and the Commanders are my flip-flop team for me personally. I wanted to get the Chargers further than 10, and then it was just these Commanders and these Texans. I think that for me, if I were to bet on if these teams were playing each other this week, I would take the Houston Texans over the Commanders. That would just that'd be my feel for it. But that's essentially how I figured out my number 10 pick.
I toyed with the idea of bringing the Texans in, but I just couldn't. It's tough. The 10 teams that we have in there are all. It's hard to drop them out without a big loss or maybe a major injury that's going to really destroy a team's season. It's hard to drop teams out. That's why I kind of just left the Chargers where they were at. The reason I didn't move the Chargers up was because of the way they beat the Bengals. Like, they were dominant in the first half, but then they let the Bengals back into it and were very close to losing that game. And they should have lost that game. If McPherson, the Bengals kicker, makes those 2 field goals, the Chargers lose that game. So I think that's part of the reason why I didn't move them up, because they kind of got lucky. So
No, it makes sense. Well, I mean, I think let's get into score predictions, because both these teams, I believe, have, let's see, our bye week teams for week 12: Atlanta, Buffalo, Cincinnati, the Jets, New Orleans, and Jacksonville. So 6 teams on the bye this week. So we're going to get a chance to kind of see what Houston does and the Chargers do to see if they can extend their streaks or whatnot. Their matchups aren't very crazy yet. We probably have the same picks. But let's get into it. So it opens up on Thursday night, kind of a snoozer. I think a lot of our picks are probably going to be the same throughout this week, but maybe there'll be a couple upsets here or there. Steelers face off against the Cleveland Browns, divisional matchup. I took the Browns last week, and I think I'm never going to take the Browns again for the rest of the season. I should have stopped in week 4 or week 3, but I just felt like, maybe they'll have an upset last week. They did not. They got beat. So Steelers open as only 3.5 point favorites, which will shock you, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. That's a little bit of a surprise.
So I'll take the Steelers. I assume you're taking the Steelers as well.
Yeah, I think I am too. I think if the Browns have a more elite defense, or the Steelers defense isn't as good as it is, I might pick the Browns. But that Steelers defense is too good.
Yeah, I agree. Our next game to look forward to, NFC North division matchup. 8-2 Vikings travel to Soldier Field to face off against the Bears. Minnesota opens as 3.5 point favorites. You going with an upset on this one? Do you see anything from Chicago last week that tells you they might have a chance to beat the Vikings?
I don't know if I've... What?
I like where that's starting, first off. Or have you seen something from Minnesota that makes you think they're due to drop some games here?
I think both. what I was about to say was I don't think I've done it all year, but I think I will take the Bears in this one.
All right. I am also taking the Bears in this one. What's fun is this is the first, it took us 12 weeks to get here, but I have all my predictions set in stone for our graphic to post on Thursday. And I have no idea which route you're going to go. So I'm not changing my answers, right? You do you. You do you.
Yeah, but last week I had all my picks and you hadn't picked yet, right? So we're just kind of flip-flopping.
Yeah, we don't talk semantics. We don't get into that, all right? If this game is in Minnesota, I probably give it to the Vikings, but Bears coming off, 4 losses in a row now? 3, 4? They looked better.
4.
They've looked better. They're at home, and I just don't think Minnesota is very good still. 8-2.
It's also starting to get cold. I mean, it's snowing at my house right now, so.
Well, yeah, it snowed today. If the Packers are the worst 7-3 team, Minnesota's the worst 8-2 team, hands down.
Sure.
But that's my analysis. Detroit travels to Indianapolis. Is this game within 20 points?
You're not telling me that's what the spread is, are you?
No, the spread is only 7, but
okay. Yeah, I think I don't know if the Lions win by 20, but I mean, I still think the Lions win.
They were 14.5-point favorites last week, and they win by 30?
Yeah, they crushed the Jaguars. Crushed them.
So this is actually one where I filled in your answer on the spreadsheet already. I'm like, there's no way he's taking the Colts. So we both agree the Lions are winning this game. New England at Miami. You were a very early Dolphins fan this year. Miami's 4-6. New England 3-8. Miami though has 2 wins in a row, 3 wins in a row, whatever. 2 came if they started winning.
Yeah, so. It's been 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, I'd take the.
We're taking the Dolphins. Okay. Sounds good. Tampa Bay at the New York Giants. Tampa Bay coming off of a couple upsetting defeats here as of late. They're 4-6 all of a sudden. That kind of snuck up on me. The Giants, however, are 2-8. Not a good team either. Although they are starting Danny DeVito at quarterback this weekend. And
isn't it? It's not Danny DeVito.
Do you have that mental image of Danny DeVito? All right, that's a gift for all of you out there.
The crazy hair sticking out of his helmet.
Yeah. He's in that, it's not Cousin Subs. He's in one of those Subs commercials.
Jersey Mike's.
There Jersey it is. Mike's. Thank you. I'm on fire, right? So Tommy DeVito starting at quarterback. Last time he started at quarterback for the first time in the season was against the Packers on Monday Night Football, and they kicked their ass. So does good old Tommy DeVito have what it takes to upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
No, I think the Bucs finally get another win. We talked about it last week. That was one of my tidbits. It's a little tough to watch what's happening in Tampa Bay because Baker Mayfield's a lot of fun to watch. Kind of root for him. Also, I believe Mike Evans, the number 1 wide receiver for the Bucs. I think I saw that he's practicing this week at least. So possibility he plays. That makes a huge difference in this game. I think it's close. I think Tommy DeVito, a new fire for this offense. I mean, what's his name? Why am I spacing on the guy they benched? Why am I?
Josh Daniels. Mike Daniels. Josh Daniels? Yes. No, it's Daniel Jones. That's what it is.
Daniel Jones. I don't know why I was spacing on his name. I always called him Danny Dimes before. So that's why I couldn't think of his actual name. But yeah, Daniel Jones was very, very bad. So I think Tommy DeVito maybe gives some life to that Giants offense, but I still think the Bucs win.
Yeah, it's a 6-point favorite for the Bucs. I did take the Bucs as well in this matchup. I don't know. New York's at home. It could be a surprise. I mean, if one of us wanted to take a surprise pick of the weekend, that could be one of them. But I agree with you. hopefully this is coming up on Mike because I'm leaning. If Evan Williams is back, Mike Williams, God, well, we got to shut this shit down. What is all over the board? Okay.
Danny DeVito starting for the New York Giants.
Yeah. Mike Williams is healthy and back. Tampa Bay should win this one pretty easy. It's nice to have that weapon back. Washington gets a chance to rebound, and they face off against the Dallas Cowboys at home. Commanders open as, this might be our biggest spread. Nope, there's the next one. The next one's the biggest spread. Commanders open up as 10 points favorites. Dallas is Dak out for the rest of the season?
Yeah. Yeah, he's having surgery. It's a hamstring injury.
Yeah. So, I mean, Micah Parsons was back this last week, but this team just at what they're 3-7. I think they're not going to get they're not going to win many more games this year, and I don't think. I mean,
we said it. We said it last week. The Cowboys are toast. They're done.
I did not fill in your answer for this next one, but I can assume it is. At 10.5-point favorites, the Kansas City Chiefs head to Carolina to face off against the Panthers. We're going to take the Chiefs in that one. We are pretty much the exact same picks so far, so we might have to reestablish this and come back and see if any of us want to get a little bit risky. Tennessee, 2-8, heads to Houston. That one is a nooner kickoff as well. Houston is 7.5-point favorites. Are you taking the Texans as well?
Yeah.
But the Broncos yes. You got anything crazy going on with that one?
Broncos at Vegas? No, I'd take the Broncos.
No, like I said, these games seem very obvious. So where's the upset going to happen?
I feel like this is setting up this week 12 to just be a
shit show.
A series of upsets throughout the week, just because there's so many of these games that are like, oh yeah, there's no way this team beats that team. I feel like there's going to be a bunch of upsets this week because of that.
All right, so we both took the Packers to win on Sunday over San Francisco. That leaves 3 games for us to potentially flip-flop on. This next one might be one of those games. Actually, these last 3 might be one of This could be where it defines the entire week for us. So let's start with Arizona 6-4 at Seattle 5-5.
You're taking the Cardinals, I assume. They're your team.
They are my team. I'm actually taking Seattle in this one.
Okay, I was leaning towards taking the Cardinals. So
okay, so you're gonna stick with that?
Yeah, I think that obviously the Seahawks are coming off a high, beating the Niners in such a dramatic fashion last week, but the Cardinals have been a solid team for most of the year. So,
yeah, I know. It seems like I should have taken the Cardinals since they've been my ride and die for most of the season, and they're actually 1-point favorites in this matchup on the road. But just going with the gut instinct, I feel like Seattle wins that one. Second to last game, Philadelphia 8-2 at the LA Rams. They are 5-5. However, the Rams have looked better the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they have, and they're at home. Yeah, that's a long trip for the Eagles. Yeah, I can see where you could call this one for an upset. I'm still going to take the Eagles. I got them at number 3 in my power rankings. I can't bet against them, right?
No, you're right. I hear you. I took the Rams in this one just because I think Philadelphia is due for a little wake-up call. And it happens on the road against a team that has played well the last couple of weeks. And
is that Sunday night?
That's just an afternoon game. Yes, that is Sunday night because our Monday night football matchup is Ravens at the Chargers. Baltimore opens as 3-point favorites.
I'm going to go Chargers.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, we just
I'll
watched.
Take it.
We just watched the Ravens face an elite defense in the Steelers and lose. We talked about earlier how strong this Chargers defense has been and how good Justin Herbert has been. One point on this Ravens team, their pass defense is bad. Like, teams throw the ball all over the Ravens. So Justin Herbert playing very well. Chargers defense, elite. Taking LA.
Yeah, I'm not going to say the Packers pass defense is bad, but what I wanted to say is I look at Baltimore and I look at Green Bay as very similar teams in their respective divisions. It's like they're kind of built roster-wise where they should be a lot more competitive and blowing teams out, but they've these up and down moments throughout the season, both the Ravens and the Packers, just as you look at the Bills and the Lions, who have just continued to just perform every single week. So for me, just like how I never would pick the Packers to lose back-to-back games, I think that the Ravens would not lose back-to-back games either. And are you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm good. I've been dealing with this for a week.
Well, we should probably get you off camera. I mean, we are only 32 minutes into the recording. I'm off camera.
I'm off camera half the time anyway, coughing my lungs up. So
last week, we entered with overall records on our score predictions. I was 81-39. You were 77-43. You were down 4 games. You picked up all 4 of those predictions last week. So if you're not dying, feel proud of yourself, because we are both 87-48 on the season. We are dead even heat on our score predictions. And we predicted all but 3 games differently, and they all come in the late part of Sunday and Monday. So should be a little
gonna take the lead.
Well,
my God.
It for sure can't end in a tie, right? Because there's 3 games that separate.
Well, right.
Right. So, all right. I gotta let you go. I'm gonna get going too. So we're recording this on Wednesday night. I'm gonna start editing this. We're gonna get the 1 episode out for sure for 7 a.m. tomorrow, because it's 9:55 at night right now. I'll get that posted for the morning. And then I will do my darndest to get the overtime episode ready for Thursday night, if not Friday morning. So,
because you're going hunting, right?
I'm going hunting. I'm going to go stare at some trees and some squirrels. Might see a couple doe. I don't shoot doe. I just watch them.
Well, good luck to you and all the rest of the hunters out there. I haven't decided if I'm going or not, if I'm hacking my lungs up on Saturday still. I don't know if there's a point to me sitting out there. So we'll see what happens, but good luck to everyone else going out there. Be safe.
Yeah. Well, you drink some fluids, get some rest, and we'll see you next week with your victory shades on again. The 8-3.
We will.
And the Vikings will be 8-3. We both took the Bears. I mean, come on. It's got to happen now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a wild week. Wild week.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, comment, like the video, or do none of the above. I really don't care at this point. No, do all that. And then Jordan Love, if you're watching, Christian would love to get you on the show. You'd make for, we would throw some great interview questions at you for sure. So until next time, we'll see you next time.
Do you want to know what my number 1 interview question for Jordan Love would be?
I did like 6 weeks ago when I asked you, and you didn't have anything for me. What would it be?
Oh, I know what it would be. It's you may have actually. I mean, we used to work together. You may have heard it previously. Remember back when we would get a new sales guy, and we'd have our Saturday sales meeting, sit around the table. Everyone would get to ask the new guy a question.
Okay.
So in those meetings, I've figured out what my interview question would be. Jordan Love, who is the best Ninja Turtle?
Was that your question? That was your question.
Yeah, that was my question. I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan. There's only one right answer. It's Michelangelo. If it's any other one, then you're incorrect. So
he's the most likable. I'll give you that.
He's the best one.
I think we could both agree that Leonardo would be at the bottom of the list, even though he's supposed to be at the top.
right? Yeah, but he's a buzzkill, right?
Yeah. I'd probably go Donatello on this one.
Yeah, that's my 4-year-old's favorite.
Yeah,
but he's her favorite just because he's got the purple bandana. So
yeah.
But he is the smart one. Yeah.
Then Raphael's just that angry. You see that they're supposed to be making a CGI like live action Ronin, like with Raphael.
Yes, I have it. No, that's actually Michelangelo.
That's Michelangelo. He's the Ronin.
Mike. Yes.
What?
I'm pretty sure.
No, okay, pretty sure. Okay, all right.
I read it. I read it, and I was surprised by it as well because I would have expected it to be Raph, but I think I read it that it's Michelangelo is the Ronin. You looking it up?
Yeah, I gotta look this one up. We can't end on that.
We're ending our episode with Ninja Turtles talk. It's awesome.
Who is the last Ronin? I'm seeing all sorts. I'm seeing every possible option at this point. Ninja Turtle. Okay, this has to tell me. You're right. Michelangelo.
The best Ninja Turtle.
Well, you win that one. You're up 88 to 48. You get the bonus pick of the week. The tiebreaker. All right, let's wrap it up. Get some sleep, drink your fluids. We'll see you guys next week. Until next time, see you on the internet. All right. It was strong. It's strong and it faded out. Goodbye.